This video, I'm going to show you how to perform a minority attack in chess. So a minority attack gets its name because you're attacking with the minority of pawns. So for example, if you just consider this section of the board, we have two white pawns, black has three black pawns. So we have a minority since we have less than black does. And we are going to actually attack using those pawns, hence the name minority attack. Now, why would you want to do this? At the most basic level, the point of a minority attack is to create a long-term positional weakness in your opponent's pawn structure. So right now, if you consider black's pawns, there aren't really any major weaknesses. You have to get way back here to somehow attack those pawns, which is not easy to do. This pawn, which is on the half open file, on the C file, is very strong because it's supported by another pawn. And this one as well, supported by this one. So there's not really much that you can attack. But if we perform a minority attack, so for example, we're going to start pushing our pawns. I'm going to make some random moves for black that don't make any sense just to illustrate the point. We push them, we trade this pawn off, and now this pawn on c6 is what's called a backward pawn because it has no pawns on either side that can support it. And it's on this half open file. Now we actually have a long-term weakness that we can attack. And by the way, the minority attack doesn't actually make sense in a position like this where there are no pieces on the board, because the only thing that you could use to attack that pawn would be your king. And then of course, if you tried to do something like that, black's king would just come over and defend it. And so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you compare that to a position like this, well, now you can see how if you create a backward pawn here, you can use your other pieces and target it as a weakness. So having said that long introduction, I'm going to now give you a detailed example of how this would work in an actual game. Let's get started.
Develop castle, attack and checkmate, chess vibes.
All right, so let's see the minority attack in practice. So I'm going to go with the Queen's Gambit declined. And this is one example of a common type of pawn structure where you can do a minority attack. It's not the only one, but it is one of the more common ones. So I'm just going with the top moves on the Lichess database, just kind of following the main line here of the Queen's Gambit declined. And you're going to see at one moment right here, white decides to trade this pawn. And when black recaptures, we get a very similar pawn structure to what I showed you in the intro, right? White has these two pawns here against these three black pawns, and there's the half open C file. Okay, so keep that in mind. And we're going to finish developing here. And right at this moment, rook A to B1 is kind of the start of the minority attack, because you can't just throw your pawns forward, right? Or the bishop would have just taken it. So you have to kind of set it up. And a good way to usually do that as a general rule, put your rook on the B file, get ready to play B4. So white does that. Black brings the bishop out. White, makes a few moves here. And here we go. Now we are doing the minority attack. And remember, we're trying to push this pawn forward and eventually trade it here to create the backward pawn. Okay, so black decides in this case, you know what, I'm going to play a6. I don't want to allow that, so I'm going to try to stop it. Well, the nice thing about the minority attack is you can't really stop it because we have this a pawn, so we can just push our a pawn, and guess what, we're still planning on doing the same thing. Okay, so black, let's just say, plays knight here, trying to create this. We can just trade it off. And what do you think the next move is going to be? Well, actually, great question. We trade here. Now what do you think the next move is going to be? B5. And we have essentially accomplished the first step of the minority attack. We've pushed this pawn to B5 and we're ready to take it and create the backward pawn. Now, the first thing you might be asking is, well, what if black just takes us, right? They can just take, we can take, and they can take. Well, first of all, this pawn is not protected anymore. So we could just take that. Even if by some chance, let's just pretend for a second this knight was over here on F6 defending the pawn, it still does not look very good for black. We can take this one immediately. And then we have two more isolated pawns that we can now attack. So we have, basically taken those two pawns, traded them for some of black's pawns, and now black has pawn weaknesses. And look at our pawns. Everything is nice and pretty. We have no weaknesses. So that was the point, right? We wanted to create some long-term pawn weaknesses. All right, so let's go back. And the other thing that black can do would be to maybe just ignore that, right? And let me show you actually a game here. All right, so this was actually a blitz game between an international master and another 2400. The international master was a white, and black decided to go ahead and just trade the pawns. And we get this position, black played here, and now white captured. And you can see white successfully created the backward pawn. And now this is a target. And so one of the best ways to do that is, first of all, you want to blockade it, because if black is able to push and then trade it off, you're not going to have that target anymore. So knight to a4 is a very good move to prevent the pawn from moving forward. Or now you have you have 1, 2, 3 pieces controlling that. Black only has 2 defending, so black can't really push it forward. And here black actually blundered and fell for a little tactical idea. Knight here, followed by knight takes d5. The point is the queen's under attack, and if you take the knight, lose the rook. So that was bad news for black. But regardless, even if black hadn't done that and had played a, let's just say rook to c8 to defend the pawn, you can see white has this long-term target. And all white would have to do would be something like bring this rook over, maybe hop the knight in, and eventually, if you're on the lookout for the right moment, you're probably going to have an opportunity to win this pawn. Once you win that pawn, then this becomes weak. You can probably win that, and you have a very good chance of getting into an endgame where black only has the 3 pawns, and you have these 5 pawns. When I was around 1600, I used to play d4, and this was one of the most common things that I did to win a lot of games. I would get into a position like this where I would play the queen's gambit and trade off my pawn. I'd eventually push the A and B pawns forward, and I would do something just like this. And it was a very simple, straightforward approach, and it's not very easy for black to stop it. And so, I recommend if you play d4 and you play the queen's gambit and you end up taking and black recaptures, and you get yourself in these situations where there's like 3 black pawns against your 2 white pawns, and you don't know what else to do, I would say try the minority attack. It's not easy to stop. One thing that black can do is sort of launch like a counterattack on the other side of the board, like on the king side, but that's not easy to do, especially in a position like this where white's position is very solid. It's going to take black a lot of time to orchestrate some sort of attack. And so I think that's why the minority attack has a very high success rate when you're able to do it. All right, so just to recap, if you play queen's gambit, it's like queen's gambit decline, you trade these pawns, you end up with 2 against 3. This can be a very viable strategy. You slide the rook over, and at the right moment, you push the pawn forward. Now, one thing I do want to note here is, let's just say black didn't play a6, and they played this move rook to c8. This is something you want to watch out for. If we just think, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to play the minority attack here, b5, and trade it off, and that's what Nelson said to do. Actually, it doesn't quite have the same effect in this position because now black can play the move c5. And by playing c5, black is going to be able to trade off that weak pawn. Now, you could, take it and give them an isolated d pawn. But that's not quite the same thing. And the isolated d pawn actually can be useful for black because it controls some important central squares, and it's also very well defended. And it's not quite the same as creating that backward c pawn on c6. And so this is actually, stockfishes after rook takes c5. White's actually kind of in trouble. This pawn might become a weakness. Black has some pressure here. So the point that I'm trying to make is you can't just willy-nilly do the minority attack and not pay attention to what black is doing, right? So like in this case, after rook c8, you would probably have to kind of prepare that a little bit, maybe with a move like maybe like knight to a4 would be an idea to try to sink the knight in there to kind of blockade the pawn. And then after that, you might consider something like a4, b5. So the point here is it's a little bit tricky. You can't just rush it. You have to really take your time. It's a slow approach, right? You don't just rush out and just throw your pawns up. Now, of course, if black doesn't stop you, it can be an easy thing to do. You just push it and take, and that's not a big deal. But be on the lookout for moves like this where it's actually tricky, and black is maybe setting up something sneaky if you try to go forward with that. So I hope that makes sense. Minority attack, super effective. Like I said, especially when I was 1600. I used to do this all the time and had really good success with it. Hope that helps you guys. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay sharp. Stay smart.